Yo, what is going on, guys? We are right back at it, and you don't even know what I wanted to say to rhyme with that. So, we are back. We have another episode of Beef to talk about. I'm doing back to back because I didn't really want to watch a movie late at night last night, so I was like, you know what, let's turn on the third episode of Beef and let's enjoy this thing. And I am. I really liked this episode. This was probably the strongest episode. It brought out the most emotions. This episode was masterfully crafted. I loved this episode. So, and I mean, the others are kind of like the introductory thing, and we're starting to learn more about the characters, but this one is really bringing out the development of these characters. So yeah, this episode is called I Am Inhabited by a Cry. This is the third episode of a 10-episode series. I'm not sure if there's going to be another season. I would assume not. This is probably one of those limited Netflix series. But and I mean, by the way, these episodes are under 35 minutes in length. And the amount of action, the amount of things, the amount of concepts that they pack into these episodes is just astounding. I love it. But let's talk about this episode. So George and Amy attend couples therapy as episode 3 of Beef begins. After, the end of the last episode, Amy, she was fully willing to do couples therapy because she realizes they're going through some things and she needs to do things to help out their relationship. She doesn't want her road rage to kind of get in the way of everything. George opens up and reveals that ever since they had the fight and she made the comment about his vanilla sexual appeal, he has been struggling. That hurt him, and I mean, I guess rightfully so. That's not something you want to hear from your wife. Definitely not. But anyways, images that her parents used to repress their feelings and all the frustrations that they stuffed inside them came out in one single bout of explosive anger. Amy feels she too has taken after her parents, but is finding ways to cope with it. And it's crazy because Amy seems like the lost one. She seems like she's very distraught, but George doesn't seem like he's in that much better of a place himself. Once we learn more about his character, who is actually struggling in the story. I think that's what the creators want us to figure out for ourselves and interpret as the show goes on. George feels that it is a breakthrough moment in their process, confessing all these things. Danny cannot get the white paint off his truck. He's getting pissed about it. Paul continues chatting with Amy, still believing her to be a real person. The story is progressing like we would expect. As retaliation for what's happened, Danny is about to blow up Amy's car. Fucking gasoline is poured all over her white Mercedes. He is about to light up the matchstick when he sees June giggling inside. He was about to blow up a car with a newborn, or not a newborn, a toddler, or a little kid in it, just because of a road rage. This show is trying to show themes of what people are willing to do, how far they're willing to take beefs. It's kind of crazy. Man, he quickly stops, tries to wipe away the kerosene, and runs away. Danny wants to talk to Paul about the fact that he was moments away from blowing up a small child. His brother doesn't want to hear it, and unlike George and Amy's relationship, they do not want combos with each other, apparently. Paul is in his own Zen mode and has set up a meeting with Kayla, Amy's fake profile. He is in a zone. He wants to really get with this girl, I guess. Naomi advises Amy to go and butter up Jordana as she has not followed up on her offer to buy Amy's business. She really needs to soften up to her, become friends with her, make a bond, become business partners. That's how a lot of relationships start, apparently. Or of course. Why do I keep saying apparently? The fuck? Am I that one kid on the news? Danny decides to visit the church Living Glory that Veronica told him about. Maybe it'll help him out. This is kind of a breakthrough moment for Danny, and this is one of the best scenes of the entire movie. Oh my goodness. I loved this scene. It almost made me cry myself. I was watching it late last night. I was like, oh my god, this is a changed man. He's gonna, this really shows that, a god figure could change you. I'm not a religious person at all, but, this was a beautiful moment in the show, to say the least. He feels that perhaps that is his last chance to find happiness. He's looking for last resorts. He is struggling in life. He doesn't have anything to really live for, and this church could hopefully help him. It turns out to be a cathartic experience for Danny as he breaks down while the church band sings Hallelujah. A beautiful song Beautiful scene. I mean, this was just great. Like, this was just like a I have been saved moment. Like, yeah, like Danny takes this and runs with it. Like, this is awesome for him. Jordana's meeting with Amy goes quite well, meanwhile. But I just wanted to say that scene is absolutely amazing. Even though she says that the deal looks great on paper, Jordana says she and Amy must get to know each other better before they officially sign it. Like, they don't want to go into this not knowing each other. That wouldn't make sense, and that's understandable. She's using the deal as leverage, obviously. Veronica and Edwin meet Danny and make him comfortable about his breaking down. Like, he's crying. He's like, sorry, I guess I had a moment. And they're like, no, 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 no. Like, this is church. You're supposed to have moments like this. This is normal. You're supposed to find yourself spiritually. You're supposed to have a peace of mind. You're supposed to have hope. That's like what church is about. And he had those moments and he was embarrassed by it, but like, there's nothing wrong with it. They say it's completely normal and happens all the time, yes. When Veronica asks if Danny will be back, he tries to make an excuse, but like, we all know this saved him. He doesn't want to it didn't save him. I don't want to be dramatic, but like, it really helped him out, and he doesn't want to admit it. Obviously, he's trying to find an excuse because he doesn't want to be emotionally vulnerable to other people. He wants to, play the tough guy. Obviously, that's like a male trait that a lot of males possess. She makes him fill out a welcome form indicating that Danny might just be tempted to come back. Amy talks to George, who calms her down. While trying to send her another photo, he accidentally sends a screenshot that he took of Mia's bikini picture. George is in a terrible place, and again, this is something we really just learned about his character, which is so interesting to me. She is in deep thought about the picture and decides to do an experiment. She sends a photo of her legs to Paul, who is online, and asks her to FaceTime him. Like, he is being really fucking aggressive. Like, even if this person was real and this wasn't a prank on him, like, dude, you're being way too aggressive. When she says she can't, he sends her over his phone number, and Amy calls him. Like, they actually do it. The deepest thing that anyone says on the phone is that she hates pretending that she doesn't hate things, which is really interesting, a really cool quote to carry forward with the show. She is amused by Paul's responses as he opens up and says that he hates Danny at the moment. They both hate Danny, so perhaps they're going to bond over this, and it's going to be interesting. I don't know. Even though he doesn't know that she is not Kayla or Mia or whatever. He accepts he likes her, but suddenly, as a crow flies past her, it is almost as if Amy is woken from a reverie. Like, this is her sign, like, what the hell am I doing? She's confounded as to what she is doing and deletes Paul's contact. She's questioning her actions. Jordana's assistant informs him, or her, that she will not be able to make the meeting. So, that's bad for her deal. Danny tries to express his feelings about what he felt to Isaac, but he does not listen. Danny is also rueful about the fact that he has chosen to do the right thing all the time, and that has made him end up in such a bad place. Most of the time the good guys don't win. Like, you see it in the fairy tales, the good guys win, right? That's not always true. Lucy probably dug up the fucking trash can upstairs, and I don't know why I left that door open. I'm gonna have to go clean that up. Okay. I can hear the trash can, like, thumping. While doing the therapy sessions, Amy breaks down and confesses she has even been feeling blocked lately. She tried to get help in college, but it didn't work. At times, she feels if she confesses something to George, he won't understand. He does exactly that and proves his point, like, oh, yes, I understand, like, just being a poser about it all. Even though he doesn't say what he wants, she doesn't say what she wants, or he doesn't say what she wants, Amy takes solace from his confessions. Okay. Danny talks to someone from the bank to inquire about the availability of a loan, but Danny has a bad credit score and an inconsistent stream of income, which will prevent him from getting a loan in the foreseeable future. But the man thinks Danny's church might be able to secure a plan. I need to wrap this video up. Jordana shows up at the house and gives Amy the term sheet, and she's uninvited, but the terms warrant her staying on for 5 more years. She didn't want to do that. The whole point of her signing this deal was so she could be lazy and not do shit. Jordana says the board made the decision and asks her to come along to an event where she can convince them to not do this to her. Danny discusses the idea with Pastor Kim, and he says he will talk to the elders about, like, the church renovation, of course. Danny actually has a plan with Isaac, which should set the danger alarm bells ringing. Amy is confused about taking the offer. We're, like, kind of bouncing back from storyline to storyline. So, yeah, Danny's using, like, this church renovation thing. He's trying to find, like, a soft side with the church, and he's going to use it to get leverage, to get some money for his company. Out of the blue, Paul shows up at her store, and she sends Mia to the back. Because obviously Mia is literally Kayla. She tries to handle the situation, but before Paul can leave, Mia comes to the front and shows her face. Oh my god. It is so fucking weird. Oh my god. Before things get ugly, Amy takes Paul out of his door and comes clean. Like, confesses everything. She apologizes to Paul for misleading him, and as she rants about her own appearance, Paul kisses her like, oh, I don't have a tout ass. Oh, I don't have good tits. And yeah, like, Paul kisses her. He likes her even better. Like, this man must be, like, horny or something. Paul calls her hotter than Mia while George masturbates to Mia's photo, and Danny lets out his feelings through a song at the church, bringing episode 3 to a pretty crazy conclusion. So, I mean, are Paul and Amy going to start a relationship and cheat on George? Because George is already, like, cheating on her pretty much. Man. So, it does not seem like Amy and Danny's bonds are tied together anymore. It seems like the storyline is completely, like, lost, which isn't a bad thing, because the whole Paul thing is kind of crazy as well. Even though Paul just kissed her and they seem destined to begin a wonderful and problematic affair, Danny's arc has taken a stark turn. His involvement with Isaac in defrauding the church is perhaps an isolating, creative choice that takes away the steam from the cat and mouse game between Amy and him, which was kind of appreciated with that. Like, that was the original storyline, but I can still understand why they did what they did. It's kind of like a plot twist. Even as he looks for peace too, this might end up taking away his one chance at doing that. What is my dog barking at? Amy has set off on a different path. Her marriage is a sham and as hollow as George and her confessions to each other. Beef steadily heads towards A24 territory with episode 3. It might seem like a turning point right now, but if what we expect happens in the upcoming episodes, it might be. Really crazy episode. This was easily the best episode. The end just kind of boiled down to a bunch of crazy stuff happening, and I really appreciate what they've been doing with this show. I know, the Amy and Danny thing isn't going to last longer. Their involvement, their interaction, their connection to each other won't last, but I think her and Paul somehow getting involved with each other is so crazy and something you never expect, like, after watching episode 1. And it's so dope when shows do that. They completely flip this script on its head. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I'm gonna go eat some lunch, go watch The Walking Dead, kind of enjoy my day. It's summer. I don't have school anymore, and for another 3 months, so I'm